this week's goal show, under pressure, Mano Menezes fights for popularity in Brazil. His former club Corinthians battle to keep their Campeonato Brasileiro season alive.
It's a big change for me.
Alessandro del Piero reveals why he chose to sign for Sydney FC. And there's Champions League action from Central America and Asia.
The first leg of this year's Superclasico de las Americas game between rivals Brazil and Argentina took place on Wednesday. It's an annual event, with both nations selecting only home-based players. The first leg being played in the city of Goiânia in central Brazil. Without most of the players who'd featured in their recent World Cup qualifying matches, it was Argentina who struck first. Juan Manuel Martinez, who plays his club football for Corinthians in Brazil, dispatching a cross from Clemente Rodriguez. Brazil had lost 4-3 to Argentina in their previous meeting in June, a game in which Lionel Messi scored a hat-trick. With the Barcelona star absent here, Brazil quickly levelled, with Paulinho heading in Neymar's free kick. Although television replays suggested Paulinho, who also plays for Corinthians, had been offside. Brazil's supporters voiced their discontent towards head coach Mano Menezes throughout the game, with many doubting his credentials ahead of the 2014 World Cup. Brazil's under-23 side, coached by Menezes, missed out on gold at the Olympics as well, and there have been calls for 2002 World Cup winning boss Luis Felipe Scolari to return after his dismissal from Palmeiras. Despite that, Leandro de Sabato's late handball saw Brazil awarded a penalty. And Neymar held his nerve as Brazil claimed only a second win in 4 meetings with Alejandro Ceballos' Argentina. Brazil is set to host the World Cup in 2014, and Menezes is under pressure to create a team capable of winning it. He claimed after this game that he wasn't bothered by a chance of goodbye Mano, comeback Scolari, but they could intensify if Brazil don't win the return leg on October the 3rd in the northern Argentine city of Resistencia. For Neymar, incidentally, it's now 13 goals in just 23 international matches.
The domestic season in Brazil looks set for a fascinating climax over the next 2 months. Current leaders and 2010 champions Fluminense hosted Náutico as they sought a return to winning ways on Saturday. The breakthrough came with some help from Fred, who was returning from suspension. The former Lyon player made up for his absence as he set up Leandro Eusebio for the opener. The defender also helped by some poor Náutico defending. Fred then went from provider to goalscorer as he doubled the home side's advantage in first half stoppage time. It was his 12th goal in the league this season and looked to have put the game beyond Náutico. But the mid-table side hit back 8 minutes from time. Striker Kim's shot was deflected into Diego Cavaliere's net. And Fluminense were given a real scare in the 88th minute as Náutico came agonisingly close to drawing level. But some great goalkeeping from former Liverpool man Cavaliere kept the score at 2-1, and that's how it stayed.
Fluminense's Rio rivals Botafogo hosted defending champions Corinthians, hoping to extend their unbeaten run to 6 games on Sunday. Former Netherlands international Clarence Seedorf had been in fine form since joining Botafogo in June, and he made his presence felt after only 6 minutes. Latching onto a Philippe Gabriel cross, he managed to register his 5th goal for the club. The home side's lead lasted only 2 minutes, however. Botafogo's inability to defend a free kick punished by Peruvian former Hamburg forward Paulo Guerrero. And the drama didn't stop there. A tug on the arm of Guerrero by Lucas didn't go unnoticed by the referee, and Douglas stepped up to give Corinthians the lead in only the 13th minute. But it was an advantage the 2012 South American champions couldn't hold on to. With 15 minutes left, Botafogo equalised, and it was that man Seedorf again. The 36-year-old, who was born in Suriname to the north of Brazil, was slightly fortunate though, his shot taking a huge deflection. And that was how it remained, a draw not really aiding either side as they look to climb the table. Round 26 of the season also saw title hopefuls Atletico Mineiro and Grêmio share a goalless draw. And Diego Forlan was on the scoresheet as Internacional eased past Bahia. Atletico's failure to win saw Fluminense establish a 4-point lead at the top, although they have played a game more. At the bottom, Palmeiras remain in trouble despite their win at Figueirense on Saturday, their first victory since the dismissal of Luis Felipe Scolari.
Alessandro del Piero was introduced to the Australian media last week following his decision to join Sydney FC. The 37-year-old former Juventus star is set for his debut next week when Sydney travel to Wellington Phoenix on the opening day of the new A-League season.
Most of my friends say to me, okay, Ale, you want to change, but there's a lot of places closer than Australia. And I say to him, yes, but I choose the best play I can choose for this moment, and it's a big change for me.
England international Emil Heskey will also debut in the A-League next month after joining Newcastle Jets. The 34-year-old, who has 62 England caps to his name, had been without a club since his release from Aston Villa in the summer. Brazil international Ganso appears to have turned his back on a potential move to Europe, with the 22-year-old playmaker having moved from Santos to Sao Paulo in his native country. Ganso has been linked with a host of top European clubs after helping Santos win the Copa Libertadores in 2011. Manchester City were given a boost as Spanish international David Silva signed a new 5-year contract. The 26-year-old was an integral part of City's Premier League winning side and joins Joe Hart and Vincent Kompany in committing his long-term future to the club. England international Jack Wilshere returned to training with Arsenal on Thursday after more than a year on the sidelines. The 20-year-old injured his ankle in August 2011 and missed all of last season, having also had knee surgery in May. He joined fellow long-term absentee Emmanuel Frimpong in returning to training with the London club. And on Sunday came news of John Terry's retirement from international duty with England. The decision coming ahead of his FA hearing into alleged racist abuse.
The CONCACAF Champions League may not have the prestige of its European counterpart, but for MLS clubs like the ambitious Seattle Sounders, it provides a welcome distraction to domestic matters. With the MLS playoffs fast approaching, the Northwestern US side travelled to Honduras to play Marathon on Wednesday, looking for the win they needed to seal a place in the quarterfinals of the Champions League for a second successive year. Sammy Ochoa's header set them on their way, the striker meeting Mario Martinez's delivery. Seattle dominated the first half, but were pegged back when Mitchell Brown was fouled by goalkeeper Michael Guspening. Guspening was given only a booking, but Marios Berrios dispatched the penalty as the Hondurans restored parity. Seeking to extend their unbeaten run in all competitions to 8 games, Seattle rallied after the break, retaking the lead through their leading goalscorer, Eddie Johnson. The former Fulham marksman netting for the 15th time this season. But that lead was short-lived too, as Patrick Iana's foul on Julian Rapallo saw Marathon awarded another penalty, and Berrios made it 2-2. But the Sounders' resilience shone through in the end. With just over 10 minutes to go, substitute Brad Evans powered in Osvaldo Alonso's cross as Seattle established the lead for the third time. Marathon had no response to that as Seattle held out to become the first team to confirm their place in the CONCACAF Champions League quarter-finals. Maximum points from 3 games means they can't be caught in Group 4, despite having 1 game left to play. With only the winner progressing in each of the 8 groups, Marathon and Trinidad and Tobago club Caledonia are eliminated.
Coming up in part 2 of this week's Goal Show, we'll see how Toronto got on in their MLS trip to LA Galaxy at the weekend. And there's the best of the action from the quarter-finals of the AFC Champions League. Welcome back to this week's Goal Show. Still to come, Asia's Premier Club competition reaches its quarter-final stage. And Cardiff City manager Malky Mackay talks to us about the club's Asian investment. But first to the United States, where following their midweek exertions in the CONCACAF Champions League, LA Galaxy and Toronto met at the Home Depot Center on Saturday. A significant night for LA. They knew a win would ensure their place in the MLS playoffs. With David Beckham sidelined by a sprained ankle, Brazilian Juninho took on set-piece duties, setting the home side on their way 11 minutes in. The midfielder then doubled Galaxy's advantage just past the half hour with this superb long-range strike. Only 3 minutes later, Republic of Ireland's Robbie Keane put the hosts 3-0 up, and it looked to be all over for Toronto. Paul Mariner's men had other ideas though. Terry Dunfield clawing a goal back shortly before half-time for a side without an MLS win since July. And in the dying minutes of the game, Luis Silva's deflected strike reduced their arrears to just 1. But Keane put the result beyond doubt in added time, getting his second goal and Galaxy's 4th to complete the victory. He's now scored 14 MLS goals this season. Elsewhere, the San Jose Earthquakes beat the Seattle Sounders as they close in on the Western Conference title. The New York Red Bulls scored late on, only to concede moments later as they were held by the New England Revolution. The Red Bulls had missed suspended striker Thierry Henry for the game, and the result hammered their hopes of finishing top in the East. Sporting Kansas City also dropped points at the weekend, with 4 regular season games left. Toronto remain at the foot of the table. LA Galaxy have reached the playoffs for the 4th consecutive season and stay on course to defend their MLS title.
The AFC Champions League in Asia reached its quarter-final stage in midweek, with Marcelo Lippi's Guangzhou Evergrande side among those bidding for glory. Gao Lin's goal put the Chinese Super League leaders on their way in the first leg of their tie against Al Ittihad in Saudi Arabia. That lead lasted no more than a minute though, as Brazilian Diego Souza hauled the 2-times Asian champions level. After they'd struck the bar, Huang Bowen fired Lippi's team back in front in a game billed as the biggest in Evergrande's history.
The second time of asking, it's 2-1.
But that lead wasn't to last either, with the away side gifting Al Ittihad a penalty after the break. Mohamed Noor making no mistake for the most successful club in AFC Champions League history. With Evergrande targeting success on 3 fronts this year, their dreams of continental glory were to flounder here. 2 headers from Naif Hazazi left the ambitious Chinese side facing a mountain to climb in next week's second leg.
Adelaide United are Australia's sole representatives in the last 8. They hosted Uzbek champions Bunyodkor, hoping for a positive start to the knockout phase. Runners-up in 2008, Adelaide took early control through Ian Ramsey. And then Ivan Kostopoulos. But the sending off before half-time of Nigel Bugard put the A-League side off course. The resulting free kick from JASUR HASANOV was Bunyodkor's ticket back into the tie. Shavkat Salamov then scrambled a second-half equaliser as Adelaide, playing competitively for the first time since May, surrendered their two-goal lead.
Saudi Arabian champions Al Hilal won the AFC's biggest prize in its previous format in 1992 and 2000. They went to South Korea for their quarter-final first-leg tie against K-League runners-up Ulsan Hyundai. This deflected strike from Brazilian Rafinha edged Ulsan into a first-half lead. Former Paris Saint-Germain boss Antoine Koumbourare is in charge of Al Hilal, but he could do little as his team toiled for an equaliser. They found Ulsan goalkeeper Young Kwang Kim in fine form as the home side held on for a slender aggregate lead to take into the second leg.
Right at the end, with a great save.
The winners of that tie will face the victors of the Adelaide Bunyodkor contest. The other quarter-final first leg finished goalless, the all-Western Asian game between Sepahan and Al Ahly. The winners of that tie will face Al Ittihad or Guangzhou, with the semi-finals scheduled for late October.
Asia is a continent keen to make its mark on world football. With the popularity of the AFC Champions League growing, so too is investment in overseas clubs by the continent's wealthy businessmen and women. Take, for example, Cardiff City, the championship club whose latest assault on an elusive promotion to the Premier League has been funded by this man, Malaysian tycoon Vincent Tan. Speaking to us in London ahead of his side's game against Crystal Palace, Cardiff's manager Malky Mackay told us how appreciative he's been of Tan's involvement.
He's never taken a penny out of the club. What he's done is he's put a lot of money into the club over a period of time, 2 or 3 years, in terms of the debt of the football club, the running of the football club. Our owner is going to give the club an investment of £10 million to go and build a training facility so that we can have a training ground that we can be as proud of as our stadium, and that's going to be a great legacy for the football club, that we can have our academy and our first team on the same site. And he's also invested in the team, and he's given me money to go and try and buy quality players, which I hope I've done.
Mackay spent more than £10 million in the summer, bringing in the likes of Welsh international Craig Bellamy and South Korean Olympic star Kim Bo-kyung.
One of the other deals that happened, that was struck this summer, was all our home games are now going live to Malaysian television. So that was another deal that was struck by them in the summer. So that opens up the audience. I believe that there's something happening in South Korea at the moment as well, because we've signed Bo-kyung Kim, and now we're looking into that audience as well. So these are things that can only help the club, and it can only help the future of Cardiff City.
Mackay has just started his second season with Cardiff, after leading them to the Championship playoffs in the last one. He says the Asian influence has also helped him fine-tune his backroom staff and training methods.
We've got Darren Campbell in at the moment, the Olympic sprinter, who's helping us on certain days. We've got, there's yoga going on, there's acupuncture going on. As far as my club's concerned, I would dearly love for our club to get to the Premier League.
Tan caused unrest among Cardiff supporters in the summer when he decided to change not only the club's badge but also their traditional blue strip to a red one.
The owner was very open as to why he was doing it, and at the same time offering the club this investment as well. And the fans have looked at it and thought, well, it's a fair trade. When you look at the state of football just now, you look at the state of football clubs, you look at what's happened at Rangers, what's nearly happened at the likes of Portsmouth and other clubs. Well, that could happen to 15, 20 clubs in the Championship if they didn't have a backer, if they didn't have someone that was prepared to put money into their club. We've been lucky enough that our Malaysian owners have invested in the club and not taken a penny out of the club, and are continuing to invest in it. And if that means that they've decided to run it slightly differently in terms of the colour of the kit, but keep investing in the club. I think most people have realised that for the long-term benefit of Cardiff City, it's a small price to pay.
Cardiff have been the nearly men of the Championship in recent seasons, and had also to watch while their great Welsh rivals Swansea made it into the top flight in 2011. But with a little help from Asia, Mackay is confident that Cardiff can finally realise their Premier League dream.
Thierry Henry was the latest winner of our regular Goal of the Week poll. His strike direct from a corner for the New York Red Bulls in MLS, earning more than 80% of the votes in our global votes on goal.com. Once again, we've got 5 more strikes for you to choose from. First up, Fred. The striker's return from suspension beneficial to Fluminense. This goal helping them move a step closer to the title in Brazil. Goal 2 is this blockbuster from Juninho. The LA Galaxy star helping them to seal their place in the MLS playoffs. Former Derby County midfielder Giles Barnes makes our selection with his goal in Houston Dynamo's win over El Salvador's FAS in the CONCACAF Champions League. Eddie Johnson's strike in the same competition for the Seattle Sounders in Honduras is goal 4. And goal 5, JASUR HASANOV's free kick for Bunyodkor against Adelaide United. To vote for your favourites, all you need to do is head to the video section on goal.com.
On next week's Goal Show, there'll be more from the group stages of the CONCACAF Champions League. And the Major League Soccer regular season enters its final month.